I'm continuing to uh, drive my conversation about the impact of racial idolatry. And I'm using different conversations, people in the news, events in the news, to talk about the damage of racial idolatry. And while we talk about it so much, today I want to bring on a young politician, Justin Hicks. He's a part of the Missouri. He's a Republican out of Missouri. He's part of their House of Representatives. He's running for Congress, I believe, in November in the third district in Missouri. Justin, welcome to Fearless. Glad to have you. I want to showcase you as a great young person that's trying to make an impact. I got to start here because I looked online, Justin, trying to figure out how old you are. And you look 19 or 20, and I'm like, how could this guy have served in the military, he's in the House in Missouri, and he's only 19 or 20 years old. So clear that up for me. How old are you, Justin?
So I'm actually 31, Jason. So thanks for having me on.
Justin made some news when a reporter, someone asked him to identify himself. What's your ethnicity, or how do you identify yourself? And Justin said, hey, I'm an American. And that seemed to take people aback and seemed to irritate leftists and Democrats. Justin, why did you answer the question that way?
So it was a factual question. I was never raised to look at things as race. I've always looked at people as who they are, who their character is, and not for arbitrary features such as their skin color or the way that they look. And I've served in the Army, and in the Army, you've kind of learned by itself that we're all Americans. We're all fighting for America as a whole. So that's why I responded like that. Because we all need to make sure that we are uniting together and not dividing on arbitrary lines. And that's really the narrative that a lot of the left and the Democrats have been pushing lately, is that we need to play identity politics again. And it's absolutely absurd. I thought we got past that, in history, to where we're at a point to where we can actually all look at each other as Americans and, go together united for, certain causes and everything. But it seems like they want to use it to divide us on these arbitrary lines.
Justin, I'm 57, so I'm old enough to be your dad. And I used to think about the military as a place where people learned that these superficial differences about shades of skin color are completely irrelevant, because the guy next to you in that same foxhole with you, it doesn't matter what shade of color he is. He has to do his job. You have to do your job so that you can both survive. But now it feels like even the military is starting to go woke and starting to lean into diversity, equity, and inclusion and identity politics. Am I right, wrong for thinking that the military is even changing?
You're dead on. The military is changing. They're pretty much, the military is being indoctrinated with, whether it's, DEI stuff, transgender stuff, all of those social issues. And it's really hurting the military. Just from somebody who's spent a while in it, the one job of the military is to protect the United States from foreign attacks. And adding social issues into it really degrades the force by itself, but especially adding things like DEI as an example, to start looking at people on these lines of race and everything like that really hurts the military in multiple different ways. It could be whether it's promotions in the military. You could pass up promotions that are good qualified soldiers based on their merit, just because you're trying to make quotas of, I need to promote X amount of people of this skin color, or that they look like this and everything, into certain ranks and everything. And you pass up really good qualified soldiers that really add to our military forces by itself. And it also kind of creates divide between soldiers. The military is really built off of morale overall. You are placed in a lot of crappy situations in the military. You sign up for it, but so your buddy next to you is really the person that you look to kind of build you up and everything. And if you're creating these divides between units, you can't have cohesive fighting units by itself to actually do the job.
Justin, what role, if any, does faith play in your worldview and or your upbringing as a young man in St. Louis?
It plays a lot, especially here, being one of the state reps and in the position that I do now. It plays a role every single day. I'm always reminded by itself that you need to make sure that you are a leader that is somebody that is after God's heart, and I really learned that from if you look at First, Second Samuel, or even Kings 1 and 2, you really see what leaders should be. They should be people that are after God's heart and want to do things for God and for God's glory, and they really seek wisdom in that. And I do that in my decision making here up in the Missouri Capitol to make sure that whatever decision I'm making, it's not based on the heat of the moment or my personal beliefs or what I think it is. It's what is right, what would be right by God, and what is going to be right for everybody here. So it plays a big fundamental role in my life by itself and in my upbringing. I grew up Catholic, and then me and my wife, we're both we're a non-denomination now, and we go to church just about every single Sunday and everything. And it's always a discussion at dinner time. We try to let God lead our lives to where we should be going and everything, and not put our own selfish wants in front of that.
Speaking of being Catholic, have you been following this controversy that Harrison Butker is in, the Chiefs kicker, for the speech he gave at Benedictine College?
Yes.
What do you think of it? To me, he sounded like he's speaking common sense, and everyone's heads are exploding.
Yeah, no, I definitely think he's speaking common sense. His comments regarding women during a graduation ceremony are maybe a little bit bizarre because it's a graduation ceremony and everything like that. But he's not wrong in what he's saying. If you look at the stats out there, there's been this preaching of just speaking on the topics of what he spoke about. There's been this push towards having women in the workforce, and that's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to have any other role at all. And that's been shoved down society's throat for a very long time. And you're kind of seeing it. Just what's going on is a lot of women are, they're actually enjoying the role of being a mother or a wife, more. And so he's not necessarily wrong. I think that, it should be up to the individual woman if they want to work or whatever they want to do. But you can't, really, argue with facts that there is kind of a trend that there is a dissatisfaction because the workforce is maybe not what it was, drummed up to be at the time and everything. So I think a lot of the comments that are going on around it and everything like that, I think when it comes to it, he was speaking truth to what's going on in society right now. And we need people to make sure that they're out there and they're going to be honest with people and be bold to say those kind of things, because those are the things that we really need to hear in society.
Justin, people of my generation, again, I'm 57, and my high school in Indianapolis, and this started in junior high, we started doing busing, forced integration of high schools, and we thought, like, hey, we're going to make things so much easier for your generation, and that there would be a lot less talk of race and racism for your generation. And, I sit here, what is it now, 40 years later, it's like, holy cow, this feels worse, that we were better off in my generation and we've created a hot mess. And I see people like yourself dealing with things that I just never imagined, and a lot of it, or a significant portion of it, isn't really coming from white people as much as black people policing other black people and demanding that they think one way or the other. Am I accurate? Is that what's
I think
transpiring with you and your generation?
I think you're pretty accurate there by itself. If it's one of those things that they're wanting you to fall in line into certain categories, and I think that's a lot of what that a lot of people don't like about me is that I don't fit into one category because I don't view myself as I'm a black person, and because I'm a black person that I should go this way or I should vote this way. I'm an individual. I'm somebody that, has my own train of thought and everything. Growing up, I grew up in St. Louis County, and my mom was pretty much a single mother for, the whole time of raising me because my father passed when I was 12 of pancreatic cancer. And we were pretty poor. Like she was a hairstylist. She didn't make that much. We were pretty poor. And I had to learn at an early age that, you have to pick yourself up from your bootstraps to make something of yourself. And that's why I did things like went in the military. I'm the first generational lawyer in my entire family because I worked hard to get there. And it plays against the narrative that, this victim mentality that is out there because of what society has kind of created. It's because of the ills of the past that either you can't do something because of your skin color or whatnot. And I'm here to say that's not true. That is not true at all. America is built off of one of the best systems. It's not perfect, but it is one of the best systems where you can go from a very impoverished economic class and end your life, being upper middle class or even, pretty wealthy. And it's the only country out there that you have those real opportunities by itself. So we're blessed as a country, and there's no law on the book. There's nothing out there that's preventing people of color from achieving those things. You just have to be able to dig your heels down and work hard and understand that America is not about equal outcome, but it's about equal opportunity. It's about the opportunities to do things. And that's what you have to, take advantage of. And that's what I think I represent. And that's what you that's what I'm wanting to make sure that we get out to people, is that people understand that there, because the narratives that are being pushed out there is that because you are a color, you do have to fall into a certain class. You have to vote a certain way. You have to think a certain thing. And I've always been somebody to stand up against that and say, no, you don't have to. You can go outside that box because it's okay.
So you're in the thick of running for Congress right now. There's a lot of conversation about black voters pivoting away from the Democrat Party, particularly as it relates to black men. Do you feel that? Do you sense that when you're out seeking votes and seeking support?
I do sense that. There's more. I think there was just recently a poll was done. I think it was like 17% of black voters, I think, are more likely to vote for Trump, as an example, now over somebody over Biden in the Democrat Party. And I think that shows by itself that the voting bloc is kind of changing, because the promises that the Democrat Party has been preaching for years to these groups of voters, they haven't been able to fulfill them by themselves. And so they're seeking and they're looking for other opportunities. And, as a Republican, by itself, we really preach just individualism, keeping government out of things, making sure that you can try to achieve your version of the American dream and not have to sit on this social safety net that a lot of Democrats push out there. And I think especially a lot of black men are hungry for that. They're wanting the same things just as anybody else. They want to make sure they're able to put food on the table, get a mortgage, get a good job. They're no different than anybody else. And I really think that's why they're starting to make this shift towards the Republican Party by itself, is because they, there's a lot of failed promises by the Democrats out there for them, and they're really seeing it at this point there because they haven't gotten any better under their leadership.
Well, Justin, I want to wish you continued success and good luck in November. Glad you cut out some time for us so that we could better understand what it is you represent, and we'll be praying for you. And thanks for making the time.
Thank you for having me on, Jason, everything, and thank you for everything.
Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.